Captain's Log, episode 91. This week's episode of the Beer Vengers podcast is sponsored by the Beer and Cheese Collective, located at 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens. Enjoy their eclectic array of craft beer, artisanal cheeses, and specialty grocery items at the Beer and Cheese Collective. Home bar to yours truly, Captain Porter Brown Stout. On this 7-pour episode, we welcome your friendly neighborhood Tripel Man back to talk about his new endeavors in the world of role-playing games and help us to dive into the burgeoning genres of non-alcoholic beers as the rest of us continue with varying degrees of higher ABVs. We also explore the tip of the spear of the holiday season as we share our Thanksgiving beer pairings. We didn't actually pair it with foods, just the holiday. That counts, right? Remember to like, star, and subscribe whenever that feels appropriate. And send us your emails at thebeervengers@gmail.com if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you just like hearing us talk about you on the show. And now, without further ado, please enjoy episode 91, Juicy and Emotional.
With a beer vengers, beer vengers, beer vengers. We're the beer vengers.
It's like the end of that Beatles song, the note that goes on forever. Welcome to the Beercast, everyone. Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Astoria, Queens, I am Captain Porter Brown Stout.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in Fresno, California, this is the Pale Male, Hophead Huck.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in the county of Kings, royalty. It is I, the Beer Wonder.
And coming to you live in an undisclosed location in the city of brotherly love is your friendly neighborhood Tripel Man.
And we are
The
Beer Very quiet.
Beer Vengers.
There we go. Okay, a little bit of a time delay there. I thought you were just saving your voice.
I was worried. I felt like maybe we had caught, Huck in some sort of like simulation loop or whatever.
A Day in the Life. I
Yeah,
couldn't remember.
it's true.
I couldn't remember which song I was talking about. The
That's
note
right.
that goes on forever. It's Day in the Life. Now we know how many holes it takes to fill the Royal Albert Hall. Welcome, everybody. Good to have you back. Hope everyone had a good holiday experience to whatever degree you chose to experience that. It's good to be back here and also to welcome for a return visit your friendly neighborhood Tripel Man.
Woohoo!
So friendly.
Took me
Bienvenido.
until now. I think I finally figured out by the end of the second episode, and I feel very comfortable both knowing how to pronounce and to spell your name, since some of those are debated among some others, but since it's your name, we pronounce and spell it exactly how you like. Even if we do have yet another person with a Tripel themed who pronounces it differently, that's how he pronounces his. This is how you pronounce yours. The Beer Venger is always the last word on this.
Yeah, I mean, I can't claim any official knowledge. I just know it feels right,
Yes,
And that's what matters. That
is what matters. Well, with things like what your name is and what I mean, it's like it's. I've mentioned this before. It's not as serious, but it is of a case with pronouns.
Yeah,
Someone tells you what they want to be called, you call them that.
Mhm.
That's right.
Exactly.
I think you would love the other name. It's triple. Always the triple.
It's a declarative statement, really.
It is. It is.
It's less of a name, more of a catchphrase.
A catchphrase for a name. See, and there you go. If you have a
Exhibit.
catchphrase for a name, we accept that.
It makes me
Absolutely.
think of Invincible, right? Isn't that the Amazon superhero show? Where he's just
Probably.
invincible. At the end of every episode, it's invincible. So that's like
He
his
just sort of
name
looks in
and
the
his
camera and
catchphrase,
says, "Invincible."
basically.
Wow, that's a
Adjective
choice.
as a
Anyway, this is a wonderful conversation, but the more I talk, the more thirsty I seem to be becoming. So
Always
Yeah.
happens.
it does. I think it's time we move on to the pours, everyone. And well, I think I know the answer to this one, but I'll let Beer Wonder do his job here.
Thank you.
Who goes first, Beer Wonder?
Who goes for, there's really, I mean, there's 4 great options. I'm going to throw that
Yeah.
out there,
Yeah.
but really only one of them reigns supreme, and that would be your friendly neighborhood Repel Man.
There we go. Yeah. What do you have for us, YFTP?
Oh my!
YFTM.
Wow. Yeah. I'm not gonna be able to say that about myself. I don't know my own acronyms.
Mhm.
So this is a non-alcoholic craft beer from Bravus Brewing Company. It's a peanut butter dark. Figured I would
Ooh.
go dark.
Dark, eh?
In this era. Yeah,
Mhm.
because it's time. It
And
really
peanut
is.
butter feels appropriate for this time of year.
Sure.
Yeah. Start a little deep and dark and tasty.
All right.
Ooh.
Let's just
Take
open that up.
Look at
and
this beauty.
Yeah,
pour
what was
that out.
happening with
Yeah,
this?
let's
What
see.
is the situation?
Okay, so let's hear a good open.
Oh my!
Very
Oh
healthy
my.
crack.
That was
Very healthy crack.
emotional.
It was emotional. It also got my computer screen
Well,
emotional as well.
So juicy and emotional. Honestly, everybody's happy.
I need a tissue.
So let's see what this tastes like.
That might be the name of the episode, Juicy and Emotional.
All right, let's take a look at this beauty.
Yeah, let's see what it looks like.
All right, so here we go. Gonna pour.
Right, that's good. Look
Ooh.
at that. Oh, nice.
Oh, very dark and a solid head, especially for. Sometimes I find that the head on the non-alcoholic beers don't quite like get there, but this one
True.
is really nice looking.
Yeah,
I love that pint glass too. Is that one of those stone? Oh yeah, their salt and lime thing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
yeah.
So you can really
Pretty.
see that they're reflecting the color of the beer on the can, and that's gorgeous. That's
Yeah.
really nice. You're eating with your eyes first, even if it's not in the glass.
Yeah,
Everybody wins. All right, gentlemen, we've come to an impasse.
we have. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think that this can be resolved.
Are you
All right.
sure,
I'm sure it can.
Huck?
Yeah,
Huck, fix
so
it.
this week I have a beer. It's called. What's great is that I've been trying to bring all new breweries to the table, and I went to my store today, and I'm like, I've had all these,
Yeah.
but I have not had Carl Strauss on the
Mm.
show.
Oh, nice.
Maybe the captain has.
I think
you
I
did a San
visited
Diego
there when
thing.
I was. Yeah, there were a few of those options, and I think I
It's
feel like I had
also
dinner
a,
there. Yeah.
It's a collab with Harland Brewing Company. So
Oh,
there's 2
nice.
breweries that we haven't had. And this is the Brisky Business Gold IPA.
Nice.
I'm going to go ahead and open that.
Ooh.
Splashy. All right, let's see what this baby looks like. I'm expecting some wonderful color. Ooh, lightness. Seeing
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of
Ooh.
lightness.
Oh
Ooh,
my!
Yeah.
Ah,
Pretty.
It's
And I like-
almost clear.
yeah, I got a real grapefruity kind of look to it.
It is. So it's got a little bit of haze there.
There we go.
Very crisp. I like your glass too, Crow and Wolf.
Yeah, that's our local brewery here. There we go.
Cool.
Oh, let me get you.
Yeah, make sure we get that because that is a very nice can. It's got that like multicolored, kind of wavy business to it, right? A
Kinda
brisky
like a
business. one might say.
sunset.
Mhm.
Risky business.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
All right, there
a
you
sunset,
go.
like a cold winter sunset.
Settled that debate. Well, now you guys have to.
Well, I'm
ahead,
just
go
gonna
ahead.
say since usually Beer Wonder rarely makes it through more than one in an episode. We've been
I know.
we've been away for those non-occasions. I feel like maybe I should
I know.
get started first.
Probably that actually
Makes
does make a
sense.
lot of sense. I like the logic of this one. I like the
Yeah.
logic of this.
Well, since matching up our non-alcoholic stout, I have a super alcoholic stout. This is
Nice.
the latest edition of Black Ops stout from Brooklyn. This is a barrel-aged
fun.
stout at a 12% ABV
Oh.
and aged in Four Roses bourbon barrels.
Oh my! Oh my! Oh
So
my!
you're drinking for 2 is what you're saying.
Yes.
Wow. I mean,
Although
this I feel like is a standard one for you though, Captain.
Sure,
Like
yeah.
this is
I
one
mean-
that you go to annually.
Not necessarily. Only not for lack of trying, but sometimes it's hard to find. I got right on
Mhm.
top of this one this year. I'll talk about that more. But first, let's take this. Look at this beautiful.
That's the
That's
first time I
beautiful beer.
so
Wow.
pretty.
It's like Vanta black. It's like light
Mhm.
as
Yeah,
sucked
I think there
into
might be
that.
a little bit of green in there that might be disappearing here, but you get the idea.
Yeah,
Either way, it's a
cool.
black hole of a beer in the best possible way.
Yes.
Right.
All right, folks.
What do you got, Beer Wonder?
Here's the thing. Everyone's going to be shocked because this evening I will be drinking a
Sponsored pour.
A sponsored pour. That's a sponsored pour from our sponsor, the Beer and Cheese Collective at 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens, 11105.
Can you believe it? This never happens.
Yeah, I don't know why. I had that all written down in
Ever.
front of me. I don't have it memorized.
I mean, it's just incredible. Like, none of us expected. And I'm bringing back sort of, I guess, another take on a beer that we have had on the show. Today, I'm going to be enjoying the Black is Beautiful Volume 2. Some of you may
Ooh.
remember we had our Black is Beautiful episode early on in our
that
time
was
together.
like episode 5 or 6, I think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and that was from Weathered Souls had produced a stout that they were putting out as a fundraiser and to sort of raise awareness around the Black Lives Matter movement. Well, they're back with a hazy IPA. This one is not from Weathered Souls. This is from our friends at Harlem Brewing Company, which some of you may remember from my time with the captain at, what was that
New York
beer
Beer Week
adventure?
kickoff, I think.
New York Beer Week, yeah. We met the
Yeah.
folks from them, and their beers were just incredible. So this is a hazy IPA made by all of them, and I'm super excited to try it out. So let's see what we got here.
I don't know what it is. I love hazy IPAs so much.
Mhm.
Maybe I'm just basic, but I just
No,
love
it's the best kind of basic.
Yeah.
Hashtag Haze Boys.
Ooh, look at that.
Oh, yeah.
There's some
Alright.
haze there.
It's electric,
that's
like a neon yellow there.
Got a lightness to
And
it at the same time.
The green
and a darkness.
can.
Yeah.
Oh boy! All right,
Okay.
let's.
Oh, I can smell
Alright.
it. It's real good. It's real
All
good,
right.
y'all.
Okay.
Raise a glass, gentlemen.
Alrighty.
Cheers, Beer Avengers.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, Vengers.
Mm.
Oh my.
Mm.
Okay.
Oh. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
That's nice.
Mhm.
I'm feeling it.
A good amount of resin in this one. Really
Yeah.
nice. Really, really nice. Not super fruit forward. I am getting a little bit on the nose, but very kind of resiny as it goes down.
Yeah.
Good hit of bitter at the end. Gosh, it's a good beer. Very easy drinking, really light bodied. I'm even getting a little bit of the burn on the tongue that you kind of
Yeah.
get from a really good IPA. Oh,
Mm.
it's a good one. It's a really great recipe. Oh, good job, Weathered Souls. And good job, our friends at Harlem, for producing their spin on this, which is outstanding.
Glad to hear it. Yeah, for sure. Well, this cold IPA definitely lives up to the name. Cold IPA. It's got a crispness to it, and it's the name Brisk. I would even go as far to say it's brisk.
Oh,
And but it's hoppy at the same time. But then on the finish, gives you kind of a lagery, light bitterness on the finish. It's very nice.
Ugh.
Carl Strauss, and I'll have to tell you more about Harland when I get my Googler out.
I did see that I've been to Karl Strauss. I was there 2 years ago. And surprise, I had a stout when I was there.
no.
It was called Cocoa and the Rye.
It's not even a bitter finish; it's a smooth finish.
Mm.
It's like you get all that hoppiness and tropical fruit flavors up front, and then it just slides down easy. 6.5%, I believe.
Ooh,
Okay.
Right on. All right, another
pretty
success.
solid.
Nice.
Right? How's that peanut butter stout? I'm really curious about that one, TM, because I'm trying out all sorts of versions of your nickname. It's just too many syllables to say the whole thing at once. But same thing with
Trip?
Hufflepuff.
Can we call him
You call me
him Trip?
Trip.
Yeah.
But no,
Or-
the reason
or
I'm asking,
Pell.
reason I'm asking, well, because we always do, but also because I've tried a few NA beers, and I haven't found any stouts that I've fallen in love with yet. I feel they don't. It's a lot harder to make a good NA stout.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised about with this. I mean, I'm not surprised that it's 110 calories. There's definitely sweetness
Sure.
to this. So they say on the can, nutty, roasty, and chocolate, and that's nailing it for sure. I think
Yeah.
they were very direct. You know, I started drinking NA beers mostly for like health reasons, and at first I was like, I guess I'll try it, and I was surprised that some of the flavor that I've been having with some of these. It's been really lovely to like feel like I'm drinking a real beer.
Yeah.
And this one in particular, like it has that kind of thickness that I think I'm
Mm,
looking for from a stout. It doesn't
yeah,
feel thin. I'm always worried that NA beers are just kind of watery
Right,
and
sure,
like not.
watery.
yeah.
They don't give that like texture. I guess it's
they
very.
wouldn't have-
It's creamy.
They wouldn't have the pressure if they just make NA Schwartz beers.
There you go. But I have had one other stout, NA stout that I've liked, which is actually Guinness. Guinness is
Okay.
0% stout is really tasty. It tastes literally just like a Guinness. I was pretty impressed with how similar it tasted if you're going that route with your day.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. But this is delicious. I mean, this is
Yeah.
like dessert in a can.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks just like, I mean, even just the thickness of the beer and the bubbles really do truly make it look like any sort of rich stout that you might see with the alcohol in it, which is incredible.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought it was non-alcoholic if I had just been handed this glass for sure.
Well, this is an interesting one.
Speaking of alcoholic, though,
Sure, alcoholic.
yeah.
Yeah, this one. The interesting about the Black Ops is it's definitely true that there have been many years I haven't been able to find it because they've been pretty rare.
remember.
And this particular time this year, a friend of mine, a friend of ours, I think we called her the doctor or the nurse or something like that, was on vacation in Kentucky and had been to the Four Roses distillery and posted all these pictures. And 2 days later, I read that Brooklyn Black Ops, the new edition that's coming out, made in Four Roses barrels. So then, great about the Brooklyn website is they will tell you where to find it in your neighborhood. And sure enough, there was a place right around the corner from me called Triborough Beverage. And rather than being in like the big bomber, the champagne bottles, this time 4-pack for $16.99. So pretty good deal.
Yeah.
And this is. It definitely has. It's definitely a sippable beer. It is a far from crushable, but it's got that
Quaffable.
Yes, it's sippable. It should be sipped. It should be savored. And interestingly, I hadn't really thought about this, but I was sharing one of these with a Belgian babe over the weekend, and she noticed that it's kind of boozy, not surprisingly, but also there's almost like a little tinge of red wine to the way the flavors mix together. Which I don't really taste a lot with barrel aged stouts, and it's nice.
That's interesting.
Right,
Yeah.
This is Rose's influence.
This is a good night, folks.
I would say so.
Now, if we can go back to the peanut butter dark, what are we considering this dark? Is it a stout, or is it? I mean, is it a dark lager?
Well, he said it's a good stout on the can, right?
The stout.
It doesn't say stout on the can. It says non-alcoholic craft brew peanut butter dark.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I consider it a stout because it looks and tastes like a stout, but I don't know what their intention is, or like what's the metaphysics of stoutness? Like, what are the qualities that?
Well, generally speaking, I find that what Huck was calling the dark lager or the black lager or the Schwartz beer, which are all pretty much the same thing, they seem to have a lot of the same flavor profile. Big differences, of course, they're a lager rather than an ale, but also they have it's just generally lighter bodied.
It'll have more of a watery mouthfeel, rather than creamier.
Yeah, and this definitely tastes creamier, which is why I would consider it more of a stout. Yeah. For sure.
I know for some of the non-alcoholic breweries out there, they are very, very careful about the way that they term some of their things. So, for example, you'll never see them use the word beer. They will come up with something else. So brew is a common one. And so I'm wondering if they're also maybe being a little bit precise around the word stout. I mean, you'll see plenty that say IPA, but that, is such a, they might just be being careful. Because I'm trying to think, I know Athletic has a dark... But I don't think they
isn't it called Lights Out Stout? Or maybe I'm thinking.
Oh, it is called Lights Out Stout. No, you're right. It is called Lights Out Stout. I don't know. That's a good question. I've often noticed that they've been a lot of them are pretty careful about the way they term their beverages because they want to be really clear that you're not drinking a beer with alcohol in it. So they'll call it a lot of other things to get around that, which I think is smart and good,
And most places I go, it's at a separate part of the menu or it's a separate part of the store. Like it's really isolated. But if you aren't paying attention, it's just a can. It looks like it could be, makes sense.
Yeah, maybe the real estate is more spread out where you are. In New York, everything is crammed together so much.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like I could very easily accidentally pick up an NA because the cans look so. I mean, if I weren't, I think I'm pretty savvy at looking at that, but I can see how anyone could take this home like, oh, I don't feel buzzed at all.
Right. Well, and it's so funny because like its whole goal is to make you right. Its whole goal is to make you believe it's really beer, like alcoholic beer, right? So it's like it's winning on that level, and then it's losing on like, oh, it's going to make people upset. So like, I really wanted to get shit faced tonight. What is wrong with
you? What is wrong with you, brew? Not beer, but brew.
You drink the whole sixer, and you're like, God damn it!
No, that is definitely.
My tolerance has gone way up. My goodness.
Yeah. Right. I'm just knocking them back. But yeah, like in terms of for me, like I think so. I've stopped drinking before, and I even did a whole year where I didn't drink. And like I was busy. I was in grad school, so I wasn't really like going out a lot. But there was always that conversation you'd have to have with someone if you were out, or like, oh, I'm just gonna have seltzer. I'm not drinking right now. Da, da, da. And now I can just like, oh, I'll get this. And I know, and the server knows that it's not alcoholic, but I don't need to like make a big deal out of it or like, if I want to, so I like that it looks and feels so similar. And now it tastes so similar. Cause when I've had non-alcoholic beers before, O'Doul's or whatever, it doesn't taste like beer at all to me. So I'm impressed with some of the things they've been doing with it. Just helps like socially.
I went 13 years without drinking. And then I went to middle school. No, I really did actually in the 90s. I didn't drink.
That what happens in Massachusetts? Oh, wait.
In fact, when I first met the captain, I didn't drink then.
That's right.
When we first met.
Yes, always 2 ginger ales.
That quickly changed.
2 ginger ales every time we went out to drink.
2 ginger ales, yes. One to suck down quickly and then one to enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a strategy. I like it.
Yeah.
And
this Karl Strauss is really good. I was reading about Karl Strauss. They're one of the San Diego breweries, right? They didn't.
They got a lot of locations too. I remember when I was there, I would see them on every corner. It seemed not every corner.
A lot of locations,
but yeah.
Which made me think that they had to have been bought out by now.
Yeah,
that's just but they haven't. They're still an independent brewery, and they. Another thing I noticed with this can, you might be able to see it goes all the way. It's not a label.
Oh,
and you would think that it's not. It's a collab beer.
Yeah,
but they made the can specifically for it. So I don't know. Maybe they're going to make it a flagship one. But it's good. And Harlan Brewing just started in 2019. So they're the new. So you have the old school, new school come together for this collab. And Harlan was made by the people who brought you the brewery called St. Archer. In 2013, if you remember St. Archer, they brewed St. Archer. They sold it to Molson Coors and said, "Let me start the new brewery." But also interesting, also is that their company is a group with Juneshine Hard Kombucha. If you know that, kombucha that's pretty popular in New York. So also another San Diego vibe from Juneshine, which I didn't realize. So good stuff. Good stuff. Sorry, Beer Wonder, you were saying.
I rarely have anything to say.
If you weren't, I
started to say something and I jumped in.
I have something to add about Harland.
Yes, please.
No, it was. I've told the story a lot on here about how great it is to be at a bar where the bartender is really helpful to people who maybe aren't really into craft beer or specifically when I was coming back from San Diego, I was in the airport and no one's going to know the local stuff at an airport because everyone's from somewhere else for the most part. And I watched this bartender very closely. Just everyone's okay. What kind of beer do you like? Oh, you like you like Budweiser. You like Stella. I think you might like this one over here. And that was where I had a Harlan beer. I had a hazy IPA, Harlan at the San Diego airport on November 9th, 2021.
Love it.
This is why we love Untapped. It tells us all of the stories of our beer adventures.
It is it's very helpful in time traveling.
Yeah. Speaking of sort of, I guess, time traveling a little bit, but also, when you drink beers, you come together with friends. And that is one of the things that I know brings us together. And TM Trip, whatever we're going with for you today. I know you've got something. You've got something. I know that because I have kind of been watching the progress of this a little bit that you've been working on that brings people together with friends and might be a fun thing to maybe have a drink while you're doing. You've got a game that you have just finished putting out in the world.
Yeah,
which is so exciting.
Getting ready to have it. Be at this gaming convention in Philly called PAX Unplugged. So
is it like a board game or?
So it isn't a board game; it's a role-playing game.
Okay.
But the convention is board game and role-playing game. Basically, anything that's not technology, like a video game.
Right. But basically, there is no a book tells you how it works, but you don't have any actual like props to work through. It's all
the only thing you have is dice. You have a few different shapes of dice. And it's, anybody who is not very familiar with role-playing games probably knows Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the most popular one. If you've seen Stranger Things, if you've seen the movie Dungeons and Dragons, and Community has a whole
refund if you did, but
it is basically adult make-believe, right? Like it's the book tells you some specific rules so that you don't have to think of everything off the top of your head. And it gives you a chance to make up a story together with your friends, which obviously the more you drink, the more amazing the story gets for all of you. So that's fun. So this game, I'm liking that I'm doing this on a superhero themed podcast because this game is called Hero Catastrophe. And the whole point is that I find the most exciting parts about playing D&D, which is a very complicated game. It's really difficult to get started. There's this whole character sheet and all these stats and numbers and math and things. I'm really into it. I love it, but I know that it's very difficult to get my friends to play. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to make a game that could be like a little intro, like package hit with like the most intense flavors of D&D to hopefully convert some more people to my passion project. So Hero Catastrophe is like some of the most dramatic parts in D&D is when your character might die, right? It's like a big dramatic stakes. It's the height of the movie. It's the climax. Aragorn, oh no, what's going to happen? And so I wanted to make a game where it is kind of about that moment. So traditionally when you play a role-playing game, you don't roll dice to see whether you live or die until you've like been smacked around a bunch, you've been beaten, you've been fireballs hit you, and you're like you have 0 hit points and you're like ready to die, just like a video game, right? You've been smacked around and you're like ready to die. And then in D&D you roll what's called a death saving throw to see whether you live or die. I decided to do that at the beginning. So when you start playing my game, you make your character. It's pretty simple. It's a simplified process from D&D, but you're heroic sword wielder, you're a knight, you're a mage, you're all those kind of classical fantasy types. And then you roll your dice in secret and it tells you whether you live or die. So you know what's going to happen to you. You don't know what's going to happen to your friends. And then you start playing the game. The game tells you you've been chucked into this magical wilderness that you can't escape from. So you're just stuck in a really terrible situation, aka climate change, right? And then as you play, every time you try to do something, you roll a dice to see whether you succeed or fail. And if you fail, really bad stuff happens. And the more that you fail, the harder it is to succeed. And the more bad stuff happens, the more it just grows exponentially, right? So you're a hero put in this intense crisis, and you have to figure out what to do. And you know your fate, right? So when's the moment when you reveal, okay, I've saved my friend, now I can reveal, unfortunately, I'm gonna, die this tragic, amazing death. Or somehow, even though I've been eaten by a crocodile, I'm gonna live. So how do I deal with that? Like, how do I get out of the crocodile? And what I found is, it's every time I've done it, it's been very plucky and fun and silly at the beginning, because of course it's kind of an uncomfortable topic, death, and for most people, right? But when you get into it, you get invested in the characters and the story, you're having a lot of fun. And when these moments come, it gives you a chance to kind of reflect a little bit, like rehearse or practice some of those feelings, like how it would feel to be kind of, I'm screwed. Like, this is it. What do I do?
Yeah.
and I've just found it to be actually quite deep and fun at the same time. That's the kind of night I like to have. So it takes a couple hours, and you get a sort of full hit of a great fun story that is memorable. And the idea is, of course, you can play it as much as you want, but this is a experimental indie role-playing game that gives people a chance to try out exploring some of these ideas.
Right on.
Yeah.
I used to play Dungeons and Dragons when I
Yeah?
was 13, 14, and it was the same issue. Like, I couldn't get anybody to play.
No, not for, because most people do it
This
for
sounds like it's a lot
years.
easier to get together on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you have to spend the first hour of Dungeons and Dragons just establishing your characters,
right?
And then you can start playing. So it's one of those things.
Yeah,
but everybody loves a 20-sided die. Do we have a 20-sided die in your game?
So in this game, no. The other thing I'll say, so the game is
12. Tell me there's a 12.
There is a 12.
Okay.
I promise you, there is a 12. There's a D4, a D6, a D8, and a D12.
Nice.
Oh, I'm totally lying to you. No, it's a D10. It's a D10. There's no D12.
D10.
Hophead Huck, I apologize. I'll send you a beer as an apology.
No worries. I still have all my old D&D dice.
Yeah, I'm like, I've become a collector. I'm obsessed. I have so many. They're such nice, shiny little things.
I gave away all my books though.
Right.
To a friend. Maybe, so that was good.
I wish I was your friend back then. The idea is that the game, you only need one dice the whole game. So you're not like, what do I roll? Is it this or this? No, like your weapon
only
your
one
dice.
Only one what?
Only one dice or die, I guess you'd say.
I mean, someone who's so particular about pronouncing your name, I think, should use the proper name for a single cube. There.
Okay, I'm getting raked over the coals here. I'm just gonna.
No.
It's been great.
No.
No. Stay. We like you. We like you.
No, I'm just a pedantic. I'm just a pedantic fuck on occasion, so it happens.
Well, and it's funny because it's obvious. I should know it's such a play on words. It's a die.
Sure,
right? And you're gonna roll it.
This was your denial of dice or denial of
die.
Yeah.
Famous
but book. I haven't read it, but I've heard a lot about it. Denial of Death. So that's what the denial of die.
Wow.
There you go.
On that one.
So like with dice, you can get very overwhelmed with just the number of different kinds. And then usually in D&D, you have to add things to it. Because like if you're a very strong person, you add a bunch of extra numbers to whatever your dice roll is because you're strong. And it can get very complicated very quickly with trying to keep track of the math and stuff. So this is a no math system.
Oh, nice.
You roll the dice, and whatever the number is, your little character sheet tells you if you succeeded or not.
Huh.
And there are a lot of times when it's kind of a complicated situation. So you don't have anybody telling you what it means. You as a group decide what it means together. So it doesn't have to be where there's a dungeon master and a group of players. Everybody can be a player if they want.
That's neat.
So you kind of interpret it together. It's a little vague on purpose. It's a little creative on purpose. For people who are new at role-playing games, that can be really overwhelming, right? It's paralyzing to be like, anything can happen. So the book gives you the rules that helps you just like get started and trying to figure out what to do. So I'll be at PAX this weekend. So by the time this comes out, it'll have just finished.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the main role-playing game East Coast convention, and I was very lucky to be invited to sell my game in a couple of different booths and to be able to run it a few times for people so people can sign up to give it a shot. And it's been a lot of fun to make, and I'm psyched to share it with people.
That sounds great.
I wish you the best success with that.
Yeah. Now
I want to play it. I know we only a certain amount of. It's a couple of hours. We can't fit it into this podcast, but I'd love to play it at some point in the future.
Special session. Let's do it.
I was going to say the good news is though Trip is just a brief train ride away. I do happen to own a copy of this game because I know one of the ways that you sort of built this up was that you put things on Kickstarter, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there is a every February there is a whole month-long project on Kickstarter called Zine Quest. And so a lot of independent publishers, people like me who are just random people off the street, will essentially pitch a project, right? They haven't really made it, but they have, enough of the idea out there and some art. And they say, hey, if you help me fund this, then I will give you a copy. And so that was what I did. And I also did like customized characters for some higher level donation slots. And like I worked with this artist named Ben Fox to do a lot of the initial images, and he did the custom images for the people who donated. And like I would not have been able to do it without this. And so I had taken this class earlier that was on role-playing game writing and publishing. And my teacher, Nat Menard, was like, this is a great way to just get started. And the concept that I came out of the class with, I was like, well, this is Hero Catastrophe. Like, this could work. So I put it up and shared it with people. And I've done that for like theater productions and other things. This is my first time doing it for something where like there's going to be a physical thing. Like I have like 25 copies on my desk right now that I have, like, it blows my mind, Beer Wonder, that you have a physical copy that you will have forever that has my name on it. Like, wild.
It's very cool. It's very cool.
I like that.
And the art is really fun in it too. It's same artist, Ben Fox. Mm-hmm. And like I play role-playing games as well. Like I'd love to get into more sort of performance because I'm an actor playing role-playing games. I love improvising. All of this is kind of the sort of vibe that comes when you are listening to podcasts of role-playing games or watching televised role-playing games. So I hope it will kind of open the door to more of that kind of stuff because I'm obsessed with it. I love it.
Yeah,
I love beer.
I would like to hear more about role-playing themed podcasts, but first I think Huck may be ready for another pour.
Oh my goodness!
You know, that cold IPA was just went down easy, baby.
So cold and refreshing.
We'll do that, yeah.
Our last episode, I only did one beer, and I know that the fans were like, "What's wrong
mad
with
in arms? Yeah,
is he okay? Is something's going on?" Well, today
I'm disappointed in you just hearing about it right now.
See, we all are. So you need to make up for it, Huck.
You bet. Well, I got this nice. I started seeing more Humble Sea at my market, and we've got this Humble Sea Helles.
Helles.
That's
pretty.
It's just called Helles. I thought it had more of a clever name, but no, it's just a Helles, Humble Sea Helles. Their Humble Sea is one of these haze houses that's really known for the IPAs, hazy IPAs, but they make a nice lager too. I got to visit that spot a few years ago. Santa Cruz, beautiful part of the state here, and Humble Sea is a high quality brew. And I got my nice treehouse glass. And here we go.
All right, big moment.
For those you don't know out there, Helles is a nice
crisp-tastic
lager. And there we go. So put a nice happy head on there. Not going over. There we go.
Don't do it. Don't you dare.
It actually looks pretty good. Very, I mean, it could be a Miller Lite as far as anyone's concerned, but
it is not. But it is not a Miller Lite.
Better look than that, I think.
We say no to Miller Lite, but we say Helles, yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
I want to look it up because I feel like it's always very clever, but it's like such an obvious thing. I'm like, someone has to have made a beer called Helles, at this point.
I'm sure, but still.
I'll check the Untapped, but I'm sure it's out there, yeah.
If not, no one steal the idea. We copyright it. We TM it right now.
Yes.
And this also won the award at Craft Brewers something. California Craft Brewers Guild Cup 2021. So there you go. World Beer Cup. It's a winner.
It's a winner, baby.
It's double decocted. And you see the guy's got the he's got the little
is that like the okay. It also looks like one of those things you see at like a car dealership with the wavy arms.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, the wiggly wavy arm man, whatever he's called.
This is sort of their cartoon vibe. They have this kind of same style on a lot of their cans.
It almost looks like a cactus.
Monsters. Yeah, he's got a little cactus vibe.
Or is it Gumby? Or is it a pickle?
Yeah, I'll have to do some more research.
These are deep questions.
Especially coming from someone who's drinking NA beer. So I clearly it's not limiting your creativity in any way.
No, I mean, goodness.
The 0.5% hits different when you don't drink that much.
It does.
And they got the hammerhead shark as their main logo there.
Oh, The humblest of sharks.
Right, well,
the best shark.
I think we may have more second pours ahead of us.
Actually, my gosh.
How about you, Tripelman? Before we get on into the role playing podcast, in case there's any specific examples you want to mention, maybe you're ready to move on to your next one.
I'd love to, yeah. So I decided to do, I think this is my favorite NA beer. Like I picked up ones I didn't know, and then this is the one that I know.
Oh, okay.
Which is a Klausthaler dry hopped IPA.
Nice.
From Germany.
Germany.
I did have it first in Canada, not Germany. I was at a board game cafe. Y'all been to those kind of things? Like,
yeah, they're fun.
With someone who's like a sommelier who like pairs you with certain games and stuff. This is Snakes and Lattes was the place in Toronto.
Oh my gosh.
And I was just starting to, play around with non-alcoholic beers, and I was like, I don't know, whatever. I think it was the only one on the menu. And I got it, and it just changed my opinion of non-alcoholic beers. I was like, this is really good. It's very nutty. It's got a very just like a real beer flavor that I like a lot. Dry hopped for sure. So I guess I should
crack it open.
Oh, yeah, crack it open. I'm trying not to crack my screen.
Please don't.
Okay,
there we go.
And let's see how this color looks here.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. That looks like an IPA. Like that is fully quote mistakable. That's not the word I'm looking for, but for an IPA.
Oh yeah, Klausthaler. That's been seeing that around a lot. They do quality.
That's the classic, one of the classic non-alcoholic beers.
It's a good one too.
Yeah. I'm sure again quite basic. It's in my taste, but for
like
me,
like you said, it's been around for a while, but it's always been better than O'Doul's.
Yeah, and I didn't know it existed at all. And like you said, like I have an athletic one. I even have a Sam Adams one that I've been enjoying. But this has been the one that I always return to because it just genuinely tastes the way that I want a non-alcoholic beer to taste. And yeah, it's like very amber. It's almost like kind of caramel colored. It just kind of has all the stuff that I like, especially around this time of year, right?
Yeah,
indeed. All right. Well, I'm actually up to a second pour as well, and mine just
proud of you.
Mine just happens to be a
sponsored pour,
and not only a sponsored pour, but it's a completionist sponsored pour because as those of us, I'm sure most of you are out there, including our new listeners from New Zealand and Russia. That's real. I don't know if we got bots going on. Maybe they'll bump up our numbers. Who knows? But yeah, but those
I'm going to say it's the aliens using VPN, and I stand by that statement. But continue, Captain.
Sure, but still, if you identify as Russian or from New Zealand, welcome. But this is one we've been working through the 2022 Origin of Darkness series, and in fact, recently the provider has been especially concerned because they're starting to run to the end of it. And I was there. It's like, maybe I'll have this one and I'll put it aside. I'm like, well, just give it to me now, so you don't have to put it aside. And so that is why we have the fourth in our series of 2022 Origin of Darkness. This is a combination between Collective Arts and wait a minute, where is it? I'm looking at the style here, but I'm having a hard time finding it. Oh, Cloudwater Brew Company.
Oh, okay.
Anyone familiar with Cloudwater? All right.
Out of Seattle, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. And this is a port barrel-aged imperial stout. This is weird. With Vidal ice wine.
Oh. Huh.
So let's see what we have here.
I know ice wine. It's very sweet.
Right, but it's just it's a strange thing to add to an imperial stout, but
Yeah. Well, I guess it maybe adds in some of the sugariness, but
there's that really light head that we've come to know from these things.
Beer Venger Connection, the head brewer of Cloudwater, is a friend of the Belgian Blondes.
Oh,
very cool.
Look at that.
If I have it right, unless I'm thinking of Cloudburst, I got to check that out too.
Ooh, that's a very unique flavor. Not in a bad way, but it is unique. So far I think I still stick by my I think the whatever the one I had, Bellwoods last time was That might be my favorite of the four, but this is memorable. All right, tell us about your podcast.
Yes,
wait, I got to do the huck up
okay.
because I just said Cloudwater was in Seattle. Cloudwater is a British brewery out of Manchester.
Oh, okay.
Nothing to do with the Belgian Blonde. So let's go ahead and rewind.
Well, that's it. I think all four of their ones this time, if I have this right, I think they're all from different countries.
Oh, nice.
Because they had Burial from North Carolina. Bellwoods is Canada, Ontario, is Toronto specifically, and I believe the other one, something with a GGE at the end, so it must be Belgian.
Well,
yes,
Hophead Huck, you can be forgiven. Cloudwater, I mean, that sounds like it could be from Seattle or England.
Exactly.
Anyway. There's all kinds of clouds over there.
You gotta squeeze them really hard to get the water out.
Cloudburst is from Seattle. Yes. All right.
There you go.
Phew, no hookups. We just did it all.
Right.
You did it all. Yeah.
But I know Trip TM, the friendly neighborhood one, has got a very cool podcast that they would like to talk about on the Beercast. So tell us about this podcast.
Yeah, I'm turduckening this podcast with another podcast.
Yes. That's very Thanksgiving of you.
I mean, knowing Beer Wonder for the many years that I have, I imagine there might be some nerds listening if our listeners reflect the hosts in any way.
Well, yes. We are at the very minimum beer nerds, and I think we are probably fit other nerd categories as well. So, yeah.
Yes.
Now that being a nerd is cool, we'll all happily describe ourselves as nerds.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, this is it. Actually, I'm like kicking myself for not getting into D&D earlier because I did have the kind of stigma against it. Like, this is too nerdy even for me, and now I'm laughing because it's like I'm so obsessed with it. But yeah, so my hope is that some of you listening are also interested in other kinds of podcasts and perhaps might be interested in a role-playing game podcast. And to answer you, Captain, role-playing game podcast, you are telling a story. It's kind of like a radio play, but you don't know what's going to happen because you haven't written a script. You don't have a sense of where it's going to go. You have your characters, you have, just like with my game, you have like your weapons and your like moves that you're good at, but you're rolling dice to see what happens. And there is someone in charge in this one. I am the humble game facilitator, or a GF, as I call myself. And I lead 3 players through a whole story set in a world of gigantic trees and animals. And all these animal folk are trying to figure out how to deal with a giant fire that will not go away. There's some weird magical awakenings happening, and these characters get into a bunch of shenanigans. A crow, a hedgehog, and a little mouse, who is actually a barbarian. So quite a strong, beefy, tiny little mouse. Hophead, do you remember what character you played when you played D&D? Do you know what kind of like class or type you were?
Yeah, I had a couple of my main ones was Kilroy, and he was of course, because I was into that Styx album at the time. To tell you when I was playing, Kilroy. So Kilroy was a fighter.
I love it.
He was pretty. He was a strong guy. But I had another guy named Footer, and Footer was a halfling thief.
Oh.
I liked Footer. He was cool. I think I still have the characters somewhere, but yeah, Footer and Kilroy, those are my main guys. Yeah,
it's so funny.
Although I gotta say, I did DM most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, when you get caught in that role, you're just that forever. That's like a classic.
And it's fun to DM. I think it's fun.
So
I love it.
So Trapelman, when you do this on your podcast, do you only have experienced D&D players?
No.
So if you wanted to do a crossover and have like someone who's always wanted to get in D&D and always has talked about it, and whenever he talks to his friends who do it, like, I'd like to do that but has never actually done it, a person like that could actually be on your podcast and play this game.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
And I do want to clarify that this person might want to play a captain style character.
We could do
I feel more
a full-on superhero.
I'm pretty versatile. I can play lots of different characters. So yeah. This person we're talking about.
Yeah, this hypothetical person has come up with a fantastic idea for something that I'm not launching yet, but I will be soon, which is a Patreon to support the podcast, because it is, of course, a lot of work. If anyone's edited a podcast before or just edited sound at all, it takes zillions of hours.
No one here would know anything about that.
We are 3 years into this, and I'm just too terrible of a businessman to actually have really taken any. But so, if you have any advice on how to make that work, if it works for you,
I mean, I'm just modeling after what I like as a fan. So there are 2 podcasts that I listen to that I love that are D&D based podcasts, where the Patreon is where, you give $5 a month, but you get access to them talking about the story, processing the events, and then they do special one-off things. Like, for example, a crossover game with the Beer Avengers would be a fantastic additional thing. The story, the whole first season has already been recorded, but I am editing it like very slowly but surely, but like putting a lot of atmospheric sound, music,
that's cool.
making it kind of like an immersive experience. And I write some stuff as like the kind of narrator character that kind of catches people up with what's going on, because I don't like it in story podcasts where they don't take care of the audience, right? Where they don't be like, hey, here's what's going on, just in case you got lost, here's what's going to happen. Because I want you to focus on enjoying the players making these wild decisions and coming up with these cool ideas, and the characters growing and changing, right? The stuff that you want to listen to in a story. You get to imagine what it looks like. You're not watching a movie, but the voices and the soundscape is kind of giving you a vibe of like what it's like. So the podcast is called Humble Step. And the idea is that these are 3 very humble characters. The Mouse Barbarian, Hophead Huck, is kind of like your halfling, very, very small compared to everyone else. But the thief is actually the tall crow person who pretends she's a cleric, pretends she's like a very religious person, and she's actually a charlatan. And then our hedgehog is sort of like the... It's pretty obvious from the get-go.
All right,
so
I figured it must be,
worries.
but I just we're such a spoiler-averse culture these days.
I know. Everyone's gonna be so mad at me, but hopefully then you'll get so mad you'll be invested and you want to.
And then she'll take other turns you never saw coming.
Exactly.
Now, say the name of that podcast one more time for the listeners at home.
It is Humble Step. And it's not out yet, but I do have the first episode on my website as a preview. So you can sign up for my mailing list. So when it launches, hopefully by early 2024, you will get a whole bunch of info about it, and you will be able to follow along. My game, Hero Catastrophe, is out now. You can get that anytime you want. But if you want to know about the podcast more specifically, you just sign up for my mailing list.
And that mailing list can be found where?
www.echolocated.com.
Okay, interesting.
It's
batty. It's quite batty, I'd say.
Honestly, the fact that you use that for various of your contacts has helped me on occasion in the New York Times crossword puzzle. I don't know if echolocated was in my vocabulary before I got to know you. YFN.
Yes. Well, so I just as a kid, I was really obsessed with bats and even with dolphins, because I just thought it was like a cool superpower to see without, vision, to see with listening. And then when we were all getting on the internet, and this actually came out because I, signed up for Twitter, RIP, way back in the day. And, I had this sort of philosophical. Yeah, they don't. What was that? That didn't exist. Well, back when it was fun. I had this philosophical idea of like, well, I'm kind of like sending signals out, and whatever comes back to me like helps me figure out where I am, like what's going on in the world, how do I feel about things. So I just used the word echolocate, and it was already taken. So then I said, well, then it's echolocated, the past tense.
And that worked.
And that's become my moniker for everything. It's the title of my game company now too, Echolocated Games. All the same stuff, just me doing creative stuff because I love it.
Cool.
Well, as the Beer Wonder would say, branding.
Hashtag.
All right. So, well, yes.
We just had our holidays.
We did.
Oh yeah.
Did everybody have any good beer over the holidays, or
any
issues with the family, or
y'all are going to be shocked. that for this year's Thanksgiving, so the group I make Thanksgiving with every year, this year our theme was gluten.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, of course, beer naturally had to be a part of it, because usually we make a gluten-free Thanksgiving because folks that are coming can't do the gluten
folks
thing.
Or just one or two of them?
Just one.
But and that what person wasn't able to be there this year. That
was not able to be there this year, correct. So
yeah, it would have been really cruel if you were like, hey,
exactly.
You suck it up.
Exactly. So no, we do
the opportunity.
Exactly. So we do a fully gluten-free Thanksgiving. So of course this year the theme had to be gluten, and which meant usually I show up with ciders because that's a more friendly option to folks who can't do gluten. So this year, of course, I had to show up with a beer, and the beer I chose, and our regular listeners will be utterly shocked by this, was a pumpkin beer.
All right.
It was Brooklyn Brewery's take on a pumpkin beer this year, and
the former Post Road.
Exactly.
It's not called Post Road anymore?
No, I forget. I honestly forget what it was called.
I think the deal is because Brooklyn, they sort of actually sold it as a different brand and found it wasn't as successful because Brooklyn wasn't attached to it. So now it's just like Brooklyn Pumpkin Ale or something like that, right?
Yep. It was basically that. Yeah, it had pumpkin ale in the title. And I'm going to be really honest with you guys. It was a good beer. It did not taste like there was a pumpkin involved. There was like a pumpkin nearby that like swung by halfway and was like, hi, y'all, I'm here. Like, smell me if you like me. And then just kind of continued on its way. And thus, I thought it was an excellent take on a fall style beer with a gentle wisp of the pumpkin in it.
It's funny.
Suggestion of pumpkin.
I also took a Brooklyn beer to Thanksgiving, and I wasn't initially going to. I was going to take a pumpkin beer. Because the Belgian Babe,
that's true.
This is a whole thing that her brother just moved closer. So not only was I going up to Massachusetts to see her family for Thanksgiving, but he was, because he lives so nearby, and so we were all there. And apparently her brother, I think, was bringing some pumpkin, and I was like, well, maybe I should take a Warlock. And when I went to find this Brooklyn Black Ops, I saw that not only was the Black Ops out, but the Brooklyn Black Chocolate Stout is once again.
Good choice.
So I took up a sixer of that.
Okay.
And they're really more affordable than in the old days.
I mean,
not that they weren't affordable, but they used to sell a 4-pack for like $13, $14. Now they sell a 6-pack for $10.
It might be more than that, but yeah. But the idea that you're right, they do sell a 6-pack. It's more affordable based on our current notions of what is affordable. I don't know if they've actually gone down that much in price as much as everything around it has gone up in price.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's fair. Excellent. Well, you were in Massachusetts, and
yes.
I was also in Massachusetts for the holiday. I went up down the Cape, as we say.
Yeah.
And I did get to visit the Treehouse Brewery on Cape Cod. Treehouse.
I was actually driving home from Massachusetts when I got your beautiful pictures from that day.
Oh, and I went with Irish Red, my sister.
Yeah.
And we went into the and the big secret at Treehouse. Now everybody knows Treehouse is like the original haze house, as it were.
Yeah.
They're credited with that really hazy IPA. Like there's Heady Topper, but
Treehouse that's what I'm saying. Credited. Do they get more credit than Heady Topper does?
They get credit for the look.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? That looks like a glass of orange juice kind of thing. In fact, one of their core beers is called Julius. Right?
Okay.
Yes.
So
yes.
But I had a couple of lagers there. I had a dark lager. Actually, it was a Dunkel. It was a coffee Dunkel, really nice.
Yeah.
And then I also had and they had the side pour. The side side pour. Those are great. I love a good side pour. Delicious beers. And Irish Red had a maple stout, and it was like maple syrup was just like jumping out of the glass.
Yeah.
So really nice time. And while we were there, it was about I don't know, 37 degrees, 38 degrees, and we watched a guy go and do a cold plunge while we were having our beers.
Oh my god!
It's right on the water. It's a beautiful spot. Yeah. But a week before, I also went to Phoenix, Arizona. So I've been a well-traveled week. And in Phoenix, I went to 2 breweries, Wren House Brewing, where I enjoyed beers like the barrel-aged Pie Thief, which is a wheat wine. Delightful. Okay. And also the Los Postres, and I had the Lavender Donut Stout there at Wren House Brewing.
Oh wow!
And
Lavender Donut Stout. Wow.
And I think I sent you some pictures of this. I went to the another brewery called Roses by the Stairs. Now, if you know that phrase, Roses by the Stairs, if you're a 90s kid, you'd be like, that song gets stuck in your head. Maybe not the Captain on this one, but there's a band called Blink 182.
I've heard the name.
You know the band. Their big hit was called
I love that you're like age shaming me when you're older than I am, just because you're more hip to the musics of today.
Just because I'm no. It's not about age. It's about your particular grooves. You don't.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not like a Leonard Cohen style.
I know there are people who are really into Blink 182, but I also know there was like a concentrated effort to shit on Blink 182.
I absolutely agree. I don't think they're a great band, but
But you're
a lot of people like them. So it's talk about age. Like, this is how you know you're getting older, when there's a brewery named after a Blink 182 song.
Yeah.
You know that these brewers are old enough to be able to start their own business and name it after that. But it's the phrase, she left me roses by the stairs. Surprises let me know she cares. Say it ain't so, I will not go. Turn the lights on. I will.
Okay, now I know the song. Okay, that's a pleasant enough song. Yeah,
pleasant enough song.
Well, the second one will not go. That's what
I was going to say that's
part
pretty
of it
solid.
got to me. Yeah.
Anyway, at Roses by the Stairs, I had Granny Rose's Pumpkin Pie Stout with roasted pumpkins, brown sugar, cinnamon, clove, ginger, allspice, vanilla, and
I think there's nutmeg in this.
Slightly different version of it from.
There's nutmeg in here.
There's nutmeg in here, so I can definitely taste the nutmeg.
Oh my gosh,
very good stuff. And also I have one called Smoke in a Pancake. It's a smoked breakfast stout.
Oh wow! I don't care about Blink 182 now. I want to go to this brewery.
Yeah, really good. And I like when I was looking up Wren House, because Wren House is kind of considered a really good brewery. And then I was on Google Maps. It said, like, the quote under Roses by the Stairs says, "In competition with Wren House as Phoenix's best brewery." I'm like, okay, we're going to that.
Oh my gosh!
So, and while we were there, we've been doing a lot of stand-up comedy.
Right.
We're sitting at the bar. This woman comes up to us like, "Are you guys staying for the comedy show?" It like follows us around.
And you said, "No, we're not."
We were more diplomatic about it, but no, we did not stay.
No, but this reminds me. Go ahead.
I did say, "Is there a spot for me?" No, okay, forget it.
I was gonna say, is that a way to tell you look funny?
No, I remember. Sure. I remember one day we were doing one of those beer crawl things from the books, and we I can't remember where we started, but we wound up at the very end at Bridge and Tunnel. And I remember. We went to several different places, and when we got there, it was our last place of the night. And when we found out it was like comedy night, I think we were all more diplomatic. But when I remember the look on Cider Girl's face. I'm like, yeah, we're not staying for this. We do not need the fifth lowest tier of open mic stand-up
But the
comedy.
problem was that the captain and I both ordered a habanero stout that night.
That was very needed to be sipped, and
very habanero. Like, it was spicy, so we couldn't chug it, Yeah, but Beer Avengers rules, the craft beer rules. You got to finish the beer.
It's true.
So, well, I didn't drink any beer on Thanksgiving, but I did drink beer on Halloween. We were talking about pumpkin beers a minute ago. So I went to Eastern State Penitentiary, which is a beautiful place in Philadelphia, full of a very hard past, right? Being a place where they imprison people. And they do this whole haunted house that's like all these series of different places you go in. And I'm a scaredy cat. I'm terrified of it, but I just try to laugh as much as possible. And the nervous laughter becomes infectious, and I just end up having a great time. But what helped me having a great time was the Pumpkin Nightmare by Triple Bottom Brewery, which is a Philly local brewery. And they work with formerly incarcerated folks to to have them hired to be part of the event. And they do a lot of work training with them in breweries. So it was a pretty cool thing to sort of see the match between the brewery, the mission, and Eastern State all together. It was pretty tasty. We had 3 or 4 just to kind of keep ourselves even, during the terrifying Halloween experience.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful! Now this is I assume that the prisoners are no longer in this particular.
It is a museum, if I recall.
It's a museum. It's sort of like it was kind of condemned for a while. This place, it was sort of left to ruin, and then it was turned into a historic site, and it's a museum. You can go on tours. Al Capone stayed there, so there's his cell all like set up. Beer Wonder, I did actually apply to be a tour guide there when I was going to grad school. I did not go through with the audition, but it was an exciting opportunity, potentially.
I'm sure you would have killed. I actually recall, after having visited Eastern State Penitentiary, being on the phone with you at a coffee shop across the way from it. So it's very full circle that we've connected in that way. Yeah. So, and a good place to have some beers, honestly, like as a preparatory or post or anyway. There's actually a couple good spots to grab beers around there, if I recall from my visits.
Yep.
Well, I know we're starting to run a little long, but I do have somewhere between 1 to 3 things I still want to talk about. And
1 to 3.
I'll try to be as brief. 1 to 3, depending on the third thing. I'll leave that to you, Beer Wonder, because it involves you. I want to talk a little bit more about the Thanksgiving experience because, as I may have mentioned on previous shows, to bring us around to the whole theme of death, I did inherit a car recently. And so that was part of why I decided, what the fuck, I'm going to drive to Massachusetts for Thanksgiving. And at one point I looked at it, like, look, it's a 4-hour drive. Thanksgiving morning, 3 hours and 20 minutes was what Google Maps said. So I thought, great. And it was wonderful. There was no traffic that morning, Thanksgiving morning. I got there in time for she's going to be mad that I said this, but 1 p.m. Thanksgiving dinner. Anyway, but it was fine. But I got there in plenty of time. It was good. I was hungry. I didn't have breakfast, so it worked out okay.
Very New England.
Yeah. So that's common at your place in New England as well. Because when I heard 1 o'clock, I'm like,
we ate at like 3:40.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 3-4 seems reasonable.
Still
1 is a little early
sense to me, but again, I moved past this. It was fine. It was a wonderful dinner. So like for Saturday, I'm thinking, okay, we're coming back Saturday. It's probably better than coming back Sunday. And if we leave early enough in the afternoon, the traffic won't be as bad as it will be on Sunday. That 3.5 hour same distance took us 6 hours getting home. 6 hours. We left at 1 o'clock.
I've been there. Yeah.
We left at 1 o'clock, and Google Maps was still saying, "Yeah, it's going to be about 4 hours instead of 3:20." Like, great, 4 is good. We can deal with that. It'll barely be getting dark. 6 fucking hours. But
fucking hours. Let's be clear what kind of hours they were.
6 motherfucking hours. Yeah.
There we go.
But the one thing that was
Merritt.
What's that?
Sitting on the Merritt Parkway.
This was all like
most
of it was on 95 in Connecticut.
Yeah,
most of it was that.
But none of this is pleasant.
Even though we didn't go through any tunnels, there was a light at the end of the metaphorical tunnel, which is once we got back to Astoria and parked the car, we still had plenty of time to get to the Beer and Cheese Collective for their annual Black Friday Bourbon County tasting.
Oh, and you needed it after that drive.
After six motherfucking hours, you probably needed like 8 motherfucking beers.
I'm glad you're earning our explicit content already. Yes, and I sent you guys pictures of them, and it was. I
want to be clear. When I saw the pictures of it, my immediate response was, "That's just coffee, right?"
Yeah, well, one of them was a coffee stout, but they were all actual Bourbon County things. Although the coffee might have been my favorite, but I'm still torn between that and the Bananas Foster one they came up with this year.
I was going to ask you about that.
Was really, really good. I liked it a lot.
Trip, this would be one that you would be hot on because it definitely fits your flavor profile.
And to me, that's one fascinating thing about how I didn't even think about it until this year about how making Black Friday the release of Bourbon County Stout, because it's a black beer. So, of course, they would. I wasn't thinking about it as much because we're getting the Black Ops, the Black Chocolate Stout. And on that same Friday, Single Cut released their new version of Heavy Boots of Lead. And Gun Hill just released their new version of the Puerto Noggin, so it's black beers everywhere.
Oh.
And even though I think it's stout season all year long, I'm glad it's official for the world, because
I was hoping someone would mention that it is officially stout season.
This is a wonderful time to be Captain Porter Brown Stout.
It really. This is your moment. Take it.
There's death and grief in the air, but at least we have black stouts.
That's right.
And that was, I think that was technically two things, and it's let's touch on this, because the next time we do an episode, this will be such old news. Had a wonderful time meeting with you, Beer Wonder, and the Globe Hopper on your roof and at Evil Twin.
In my undisclosed location. Yeah. We
Was,
had a lovely time. We found out that Monday night is industry night at Evil Twin Dumbo, so you can get all their lagers and their one pale ale at their largest size for $6, which is fantastic. And we had some. Yep, so it's definitely swing by, and
they
then
make really good lagers too.
They do. So we had some very good ones across the board, including a Doppelbock that was like 9%.
It was pretty great,
and that was on the $6 list.
Oh yeah, it was a real steal, and they gave you a big
soundbite for that.
I know.
Oh, are we looking for? Wait a minute.
I think it would have to do something with
Oh fuck my dude.
There you go. Those are honestly, that's the feeling we had when we drank it. Yep, and that is the feeling I had when I tasted it. So it's the end of rooftop season here in Gotham, and so I figured we needed to beer venge, and of course, ensure quality, just to make sure that it was still doing what it needed to. So, so we headed up to the rooftop, and we had some delightful barley wines.
And this is Hygge. Was that the name of it? This is
Hygge, which from our friends at Evil Twin, of course. Hygge. Yes. And then a Globe Hopper brought over an IPA, and we had some delightful cheeses and crackers brought to us by our dear friends at Unboxed Experiences, which we may or may not have a connection to. And we just kind of watched the sunset and shouted over the trains and had a marvelous time. I thought.
And we almost might have wanted to, with all those wonderful things, the Evil Twin, etc. We might have just felt like saying,
"Oh fuck yeah, my dude!"
Oh, so many times,
always.
Yes, and we might even say it in this voice.
Oh fuck yeah, my dude! Well, that's the way you know that it's been done correctly.
Or maybe even,
"Oh fuck yeah, my dude!"
Oh, that's
hello.
Right. That one's very sexual. I just want to point that out there.
We got them all in there.
It's juicy and emotional, just like this episode.
Yeah, I think all of those were pre-recorded sound bites, but I feel like we need to have our friendly neighborhood Trapel Man say that as well.
Let's have one. Yeah.
Okay. Are any particular intention for this? Like any way
maybe we need to give them some context. There was a beer that Evil Twin had that they wouldn't even tell you what it was. We had to look it up on Reddit to figure out what it was. But it was this wonderful beer that I had on the show that I got from there at one point. It was like a fancy bottle, and it was OFYMD. And we eventually figured out what it actually stood for was, "Oh fuck yeah, my dude."
Now, OFYMD, I feel like this is the perfectly most appropriate beer for YFNTM to be repping. This feels correct in so many ways.
Well, you know what, Ethan?
Who's he?
Oh, damn it. You know what, Beer Wonder?
That's all right. We're gonna fucking leave it in. We're gonna fucking leave it in, dude.
Yeah, we don't edit that shit out.
No, but we got to set you up. We got to set you up. Here we go.
There might be more alcohol in this than I think.
Yeah. All right.
We got to set you up.
Let's mark that one again.
Hey, so Beer Wonder. You know what? Oh fuck yeah, my dude.
There we go.
Honestly, that touched me in places that were beautiful. Thank you.
There was some real intention behind that.
I can't think of a better note to end all of this on, or an end to note it on, as I said once.
But before they go, if they want to hang out with our dear friendly Trapel Man and check out your amazing games, where should they look for you?
Go to www.echolocated.com.
Exactly. And if they want to hang out with the Beer Avengers, where should they go, Captain?
Well, they do a little @ symbol, the thing that's up. If you're on a keyboard, it's on the shift too. The @ the Beer Avengers, all one word. And you can find us on the good social networks and even the bad ones. Facebook,
all of them.
You can decide which one you think is good and bad. We're not here to be arbiters of taste in that regard, but whether it's, the former Twitter, which we actually barely on, and Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, we grab more than anything else, I suppose.
I think we do. Yeah. Although we're technically on TikTok, but, we are, there's a thing about it, even though TikTok is the whole short view for short attention spans, my attention span, it seems to be too short to really pay attention to it. But
oh my gosh,
there you go. Or you can just email us at thebeervengers@gmail.com. If you're persistent or even moderately persistent, we will find you and we will respond, and we will our needy egos will be gladly fed by all of it.
Please contact us.
And mine too. All my needy egos in the various social media forums are on my website as well. I welcome you to come say hi and tease me for doing a terrible job beefing the end of that. Oh fuck yeah, my dude.
No, the end result was
the end result was gold, which means that your friendly neighborhood Turtle Man. Yeah, I think they should all go in, but really, what it means is that your friendly neighborhood Trapel Man, of course, you should come back anytime.
Oh, come back anytime.
Well, maybe I should roll a dice and see if I'm gonna
roll a dice. You're still there. Roll a dice. You said it on purpose that time, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I did. I wanted to provoke you into another fight. Let's see who wins.
But it's not a fight. This is just a nerdy. I'm like one of Seth Meyers' jackals there. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. Thank you for being here. YFNTM and Huck, fucking play us out.
Oh, with a beer Avengers, beer Avengers, beer Avengers, with a beer Avengers, with a beer Avengers, beer Avengers, beer Avengers, we're the Avengers.
Hey,
yeah,
sure.